What if the most valuable thing you ever touched looked completely ordinary? What if it slipped through your fingers because you didn't stop to ask, what is this really worth? One morning, a humble laborer found a small, shiny stone buried beneath the earth. It sparkled in the sunlight, but to him, it was just a rock, something to trade for food. So he sold it. 50 rupees, enough for lunch and maybe a new shirt. But just hours later, that same stone was carried into a royal palace and valued as a national treasure. He had it, but he didn't know, and someone else did. This is a story of hesitation, of a moment missed, and of what happens when you fail to recognize the opportunities sitting right in your hands. In a small village far from the bustling cities, there lived a laborer who spent his days doing the same thing over and over again. Every morning, before the sun even rose, he would wake up and begin his work. With his shovel in hand, he would dig the earth, fill his donkey's load, and carry it to the market to sell. Life was simple for him. There was nothing fancy or special about it. He didn't have much, but he was content. No one noticed him much, and he didn't expect them to. His life was hard, but he took pride in his work. The daily routine, though tiring, gave him a sense of purpose. What he didn't know was that his simple life was about to change in a way he never expected. Something extraordinary was waiting for him, hidden in the very soil he dug. One day, while digging, the laborer's shovel hit something hard. He dug around it and pulled out a shiny stone, glowing in the sunlight. It was beautiful, glittering with an unusual brilliance, but he didn't know what it was. To him, it was just another rock. He tied the stone around his donkey's neck, thinking it would be a nice decoration, and continued with his work, unaware of the treasure he had just uncovered. That stone, though, wasn't just a stone. It was a diamond, a priceless gem. But for now, the laborer remained clueless about its true value. It swung gently as he walked, a symbol of how something valuable can be hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize its worth. As the laborer made his way through the village with his donkey, a wealthy merchant saw the stone hanging from the donkey's neck. The stone caught his eye, shining brightly in the sunlight. He walked up to the laborer, curious about it. "What is this shining thing around your donkey's neck?" the merchant asked. "Oh, it's just a shiny stone I found while digging," the laborer replied casually. The merchant, without giving it much thought, saw the stone and decided to buy it. "I'll give you 50 rupees for it," he said. The laborer, not realizing its value, agreed. "Sure, take it," he said, happy to get 50 rupees in exchange for what he thought was just a pretty rock. The merchant took the stone, hung it in his shop, and admired its beauty. But he still didn't know that he had just bought a diamond, a treasure that could change his life. He was satisfied with the deal, unaware that he had just acquired something priceless. A few days later, a jeweler entered the merchant's shop. As he looked around, his eyes were drawn to the stone hanging from the merchant's scale. He took a closer look, his eyes widening in recognition. "That's not just a stone," he thought to himself. "That's a priceless diamond." He approached the merchant, his voice full of excitement. "What is this? Why is it hanging here?" The merchant replied nonchalantly, "Oh, it's just a shiny stone I bought from a laborer for 50 rupees. I thought it looked nice, so I hung it here." The jeweler's heart raced. He could see that the stone was more valuable than the merchant realized. "Would you be willing to sell it to me?" he asked eagerly. The merchant, thinking he had already gotten a good deal, replied, "I'll sell it to you for 100 rupees. The jeweler hesitated for a moment. "I'll give you 80 rupees for it. Take it or leave it," he said, trying to bargain. The merchant stood firm. "No, I want 100 rupees. Take it or leave it." The jeweler, frustrated but still interested, walked away, thinking, "I'll come back tomorrow and offer 90 rupees. But little did he know, the opportunity was about to slip through his fingers. That same evening, a second jeweler passed through the village. His car had broken down, and he stopped by the merchant's shop to get some rest. As he walked in, his eyes immediately fell on the stone hanging from the scale. Without a second thought, he recognized its true value. "I'll buy it for 100 rupees, he said confidently without hesitation. The merchant, seeing an eager buyer, agreed instantly. There was no bargaining, no delay. The second jeweler handed over the 100 rupees, took the diamond, and left with a smile on his face. He knew he had just made a great purchase. The merchant, meanwhile, still didn't fully realize what he had sold, thinking only of the quick 100 rupees he had received. While the first jeweler waited for the price to drop, the second jeweler seized the opportunity without a second thought. Sometimes it's not about waiting for the perfect deal. It's about recognizing the value of what's in front of you and acting quickly. The next day, the first jeweler returned to the merchant's shop, eager to finalize the deal. But when he saw that the stone was no longer hanging in the shop, his heart sank. "Where's the stone?" he asked the merchant, his voice filled with confusion. The merchant, without any concern, replied, "Oh, it's already been sold. A jeweler came by last night and bought it for 100 rupees. The first jeweler's face fell. He couldn't believe it. The opportunity he had let slip away was now gone. The stone, which he had recognized as a diamond, had been sold while he hesitated. He could barely hide his frustration. "You fool!" the jeweler muttered angrily. "That wasn't just a shiny stone. It was a priceless diamond." The merchant, laughing lightly, replied, "I didn't know it was a diamond, but you did. You could have bought it for 100 rupees when you had the chance, but instead you argued over 20 rupees. So the real fool here is you. You lost a priceless diamond over just 20 rupees." The first jeweler stood there, stunned and filled with regret. He realized the truth of the merchant's words. His hesitation had cost him the opportunity of a lifetime. As the first jeweler walked away, his mind raced with regret. He knew he had made a terrible mistake. In the end, it wasn't about the 20 rupees. It was about the opportunity he had missed, the chance to make a wise, quick decision and claim something valuable before it slipped away. The merchant's words echoed in his mind. Sometimes, we get so caught up in small details, like haggling over a few rupees, that we lose sight of the bigger picture. You were focused on a small price difference, and now you've lost something truly priceless. The jeweler had learned a hard lesson. Time is precious, and opportunities don't wait. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is act fast and take advantage of what's in front of you. Waiting for the perfect deal could mean losing out on something truly valuable. This story teaches us that if we hesitate or overthink, we might miss out on the most important opportunities in life. Act when the moment is right, because once it's gone for good.